Hi, guys. Standing ovation. Thank you, Beverly. You're so sweet. I don't think anybody can see me, though, right?
Working on it.
You can only hear
Oh.
me.
Okay.
Thank God. You don't want to see me. I still look the same. Plus a couple pounds. Right, Ismail?
What? Okay, one sec.
Rob is adjusting some screen shares for me so that I can get started. And then we will begin ERSCon 2021. Un momento. And thank you to my team for being here this morning for the kickoff. Go do what you guys do and listen in as you can. And help me along the way if you overhear me lie to our customers, because I'm not trying to.
Alright, what are you seeing right now?
What do you see, Tiffany?
Go to speaker view.
If anybody did find gallery view, make sure that you go back to that top right hand corner view and get back to speaker view so that you'll hopefully be participating in my shared screen and slideshow in just a moment.
What is that?
Susie was on here twice, so I believe I am Susie and not Rob. Rob was never on here.
Yeah, that says your name is Susie.
Yeah, I'm Susie. That's me. But I'm not, but that's okay. We all don't mind. Susie can be my label for the day. We had to rotate around computers a little bit to make sure that screen share and stuff was working on the better device from the office, which was Rob's. How I logged in as Susie, that part I don't know. Appreciate y'all's patience, working on it.
Alright, if we go to share screen from Zoom, where's your Zoom? Share screen.
And there it is, Keynote. How's that look, guys? You seeing it? Yay, thank you for the thumbs up there, Sean. I am going to... Can I use the mouse during this? Because, oh, there it is, okay. I would like to make sure that... I guess you guys are going to watch the chat. My back arrow is not working. Rob, for me to back up a screen. Can you help me? Just making sure that I can use my controls, guys. That would be page 1 of newbie stuff, but I'm just trying to make sure that I can go back and forth. All I did was click the mouse and it shot me, and I was just trying to go back.
Two fingers.
2 is back, 1 is forward, right? Okay. Everybody good? Thumbs up from my team that we're all good. ERSCon has started. Thank you, guys. Okay, my team can go back to work. Thank you. And or view and listen in. I appreciate my support being here. You can also watch live on Facebook and the other social media groups. I, being on the Noob stuff, will definitely be touching base on things that a lot of us are already completely aware of, but some of us in this group are not. And then with that said, we also have those aha moments that we have forgotten certain things, but deleting stuff in brackets is dangerous and bad for your system. That is something that I think we all learned from the very beginning of startup with ERS, that merge fields, as they're called, merge over the information, allowing you to put something in the system one time and merging it over to the 50 or 100 times that it might be throughout documents and the website on your behalf. That way, if and when you make changes, you only have to make the change once and it would update the whole system. Cancellation emails, I'd like you to be aware that they do go out automatically when you cancel an event. There are 2 documents in your general documents, the cancel and rain check. If you cancel without a rain check, your clients are going to get an automatic pre-generated document or email that says sorry you had to cancel, and the rain check would say sorry you had to cancel, but we've got your rain check on file. Just important that you know those are there and that you know to go edit them. If you do not like them or do not want them to send, delete them, or for lack of a better word, break them. Add a couple of X's to the end of cancel and rain check so that it's incorrectly spelled and our system won't pull it because it will not find the document. Keeping your system clean and organized is very important. Many, many years back, for those of us that have been with ERS for a long time, deleting was bad. If you deleted a user, you removed all history of every spot that that user might have been in the system. If you deleted an item, you might have deleted some history of the inventory or where it was rented, and that is no longer the case. So deleting helps keep things cleaned up. If you have inventory that you're not using, get rid of it. You have users that no longer work for the company, get rid of it. This does not affect your financial and statistical reports. Removing or editing your adjustments can be very dangerous. We get phone calls all the time in support that things are not working. People are buying the damage waiver, for example, but they're not actually getting charged for it. So you might have the question on your checkout process, do you want the damage waiver? And somebody says yes, but when you get to the payment screen, there's nothing there. You likely came in and edited or removed the apply option list with exclusions or apply options, because the damage waiver is an order option, and if you removed the adjustment from here, it removes the ability for the system to actually charge. This is a dangerous area, and we just recommend not really messing in here. Using spreadsheet mode is a handy way for you to do faster editing in bulk. So you can actually, in any document or page in the event rental systems area, change browse mode at the top of any list to spreadsheet mode. And spreadsheet mode allows you to remain on the same page to make changes rather than clicking into the item, going down to the setting, making the change, pressing save, coming back out, trying to remember which item you just made the change to, and then moving forward to change the next item, and so on. So if you go to spreadsheet mode, you could, for example, display to customer. You could change a bunch of yeses to nos or to display only by remaining on the screen. And the great part is when you press save, it highlights it green to let you know you already did this one, move on to the next one. Coupons can become very confusing to our clients, so I like to just touch on the fact that when you're creating coupons, although there is lots of handy rules and features and settings within the coupon area, it doesn't mean that you'll use or need all of it. Do not link a rule to a coupon if it was not specifically created for that coupon. Quite often we see people link their general availability or universal availability rules to a coupon. That in fact just most likely made the coupon quit working and break because there's rules in there that do not apply. The rule setting is so that if you need a coupon to work in a specific manner or to a specific item or on a specific day, you would then create a rule elsewhere and come back and link that. But if you do not need a rule and you just want a coupon to work across the board, you do not use those rules. The start and end date specifies to the coupon that the events must be on those date ranges, nowhere outside the date, or the coupon will not work. So you would only use start and end date if you need the coupon to be specific to that date range. Expiration is simply that. Your coupon can be for any any event at any date, but the coupon will discontinue working after that date that you might apply in there. So you really do not need an expiration date and a start and end date. You either need one or the other to make sure that your coupons continue working. There is a little more deep dive on coupons that you can also, using award points, make coupons one-time use only. You can apply award points to your items and allow those points to be used towards the customers, to know that if customer ABC uses up their 5 points, for example, the coupon won't work anymore if that coupon's worth 5 points. So that you need to visit help up in the top of your menu options on your control panel and visit knowledge base to search more about coupons and one-time use coupons. Noah made a great video. Also, when you are in spreadsheet mode or regular browse mode, you should customize to only see what you're working on. A lot of us don't understand what the customize button is there for, so therefore we haven't even touched on it. it is there so that you can specify what areas within the page or item list that you're on can be specific to only what you want to see and work on at that time.
That's also true for the spreadsheet mode. So when you're in spreadsheet mode, you can use that customize button to customize what you're looking at. And in spreadsheet mode, you guys should play with it. It's also, you can click and drag those columns to make them bigger or wider so that you can see everything that you're going to type.
Discountable no. This one's a big one that most people don't realize even exists. If you go into an inventory item and go down towards the bottom into the meta info area and add an extra meta info box and label the type discountable and the content with the word no, that item is no longer discountable, and there is no gray area. That is a very black and white. You and your staff cannot do a general discount that would affect that item. Coupons would never affect that item. If you and your staff needed to discount an item that is set to discountable no, your only option is to literally click the cost in the cart and change it from there to be a completely different item cost. Because discountable no means what it says. This is really convenient for people. For example, you can't discount your attendants, your performers. You have to pay them in full, therefore you want to collect in full. So you might be giving 10% off an entire order, but if the people that are attending or performing at that event are discountable no, the 10% will not apply to those items. A custom favicon. This one's huge for me. I have this visual grudge, I guess, that every time I help service in tech support, almost everybody's website that I'm helping with has the ERS logo still as their custom favicon up in their tabs. So when you're on the internet and you visit different companies' websites, the image next to their name in the website on the tabs displays their logo. Make sure that you're using your own logo. Brand your company everywhere that you can, and the custom favicon is a really simple, great way to do that. Know that these screenshots also will be shared, probably in a PDF format of some sort after the show. So even though I'm clicking past them, and you may not have captured something that you wanted to come back to, it will be available to you in the ERS group and emailed out later. Creating packages has enough complexity to it that if you'll visit our training site, ersfast.info, and in the navigation, there is a creating packages link that'll take you to a great video that Noah had created. As well, you would find it under help in our knowledge base by searching keyword packages. I'd like to roll over suggested versus required add-ons. Suggested add-ons are the ability to grow your average ticket. If you have folks adding an item to their cart and then seeing nothing except continue shopping and checkout, it is presumed by you that they'll continue shopping, but the truth is some of us come in as shoppers focused about what we want. We want our bounce house, we're gonna just hit checkout and move on. I'm never going to realize that, oh, you have concessions, you have tables and chairs. I was gonna go to another company to rent my tables and chairs. I didn't realize a bounce house company would also bring me the tables and chairs in one delivery. So it's imperative that you are going to admin products add-ons and creating a list of the standard things that you would like to upsell and linking add-ons to your inventory. A little bit different from required add-ons, although you create them in the same place at admin products add-ons. Required add-ons is the ability to require that somebody respond to add something additional. So in this particular example, this is a party package where I've told them that they're getting this bounce house, but they get a choice of a concession. So they need to choose from one of these concessions to submit their order. So it's very important that you understand required add-ons is exactly what it states. It will require that they purchase something additional. Within the add-on feature, you'll notice that you do have the ability to apply the costs. So you can make a full price item actually add to the cart at $0 when it's a choice from the add-on area. You can also mix and match those required add-ons. When you go into admin products items and you go down to the required add-on setting and you link, for example, the snow cone flavors So if I rent a snow cone machine, it might ask me if I want strawberry, grape, or cherry. And I maybe allow them to get one of each of those, or at least up to 3. But I, as a client, can pick all 3 to be cherry. But either way, sticking that quantity to the right of the required add-on, normally you would leave that blank. That just allows the one option. But if you want to say, hey, they can pick up to 3, then putting in the number 3 would allow a client to take a long list of choices and choose 3 of those lists of choices. Sorry, I clicked backwards, but I did forget to mention that required add-ons can be done with or without the images. And by default, those images do link to the info page. So if somebody were to click on the image to the left, it would actually open them up into the popcorn machine item page, and adding from there, then they would just be renting your popcorn machine. But if they select the bubble here from the package, they would be adding their selection to this party package rather than renting just a machine. But you control whether those pictures show or not. This is kind of an example of that mix and match I was just showing. So if I've got this many choices of syrup, I can choose up to 3, and the system is smart enough to not allow me to choose a 4th one. And if you change that 3 to a 0 through 3 with a 0-3, it will allow a customer to skip these completely, meaning they can choose as little as 0 or up to 3 of these. So they don't have to make a choice at all. Reminders and receipt reminders and item-specific reminders. Reminders have so much flexibility that you can actually create the reminders at admin, order config reminders, but then use them in many different ways. You can have those reminders when they are set to display yes. They become part of your checkout process. Are those checked off boxes, or disclaimers, as some of us might refer to them as, that you have for your clients that they must acknowledge that they read and understood. But you can also set reminders to display no. So you can create them in the reminder section, but never have them display as part of the checkout process, and use them in different fashions. So here's an example of where you would create the reminders. And in this example, you see that the water setup and the ice reminders are both set to display no. And that would be because I don't want somebody renting my tables and chairs and having to acknowledge ice and water setup. So I've set those to no so that I can go to water reminder, for example, to every unit in my inventory that needs or uses water, the dunk tank, the water slides, and link the reminder to what's called additional reminders. Or in this example, I can go to the snow cone machine and link the ice reminder under the additional reminders to the snow cone machine. So only if that item is in my cart and rented would I see that reminder and have to acknowledge it during the checkout process. Other than that, it would never show. You can also link reminders, again, leaving them set to display no, but having them linked to receipt reminders. So inside each inventory item, there is additional reminders, but inside every item, there is a separate setting called receipt reminders. And if I create a reminder and link it as a receipt reminder, I can then allow that disclaimer to merge over and display either on the contract or the emailed receipt, wherever I choose to put order:_receipt_reminders in brackets, the merge field. You also can have that reminder set to display yes. So again, it is part of my checkout process and is also merging over, because I can link it as an additional reminder to the snow cone and link that same one to my receipt reminder so that it will merge over and become part of my contract or my emailed receipt as kind of a secondary poke at them that, hey, you read this during checkout, and it's also part of your signed contract and emailed receipt to remind you of any disclaimer, most popularly used on things like mechanical bulls. And that actually allows you the ability to, on some level, you can recreate your own contract. Your contract can be the standard ERS contract, but using receipt reminders, you can have paragraphs or disclaimers that are labeled properly as such: the mechanical bull disclaimer, the dunk tank disclaimer, and the games disclaimer, the concessions disclaimer about cleaning them, so on and so forth. And that way, if those items are in the cart, those things would stack up. If I rent a mechanical bull and a concession and a game, I would see all 3 paragraphs stack into my contract because you created the disclaimer in the reminders section and then linked to the item that it needs to be a receipt reminder. So again, it would merge over and add to the documents that I've already created, in this case, the contract or the emailed receipt. Routing. This is a huge section that takes a lot of time and focus and is easier and best done when you're specifically on your own examples of your own neighborhood with your own events with real-time addresses. So for this one, I would just like to point out that routing is a huge component to ERS that is included. There is no extra fees or charges for using it. This is part of event rental system software from day one. As a matter of fact, I believe if history be told, routing was created before ERS software was created. So you should take advantage of visiting, again, ersfast.info, our own training site that we send new signups to. But it's also a great resource for even you veterans to revisit sometimes and get a refresher that Noah did a great routing training video. So in the navigation of that website, you'll see routing training so that you can learn more about routing on your own system with your own real-time addresses. Deliver routing v3 is always pre-selected, and then just choose the date. It really is that simple. Learning the ins and outs of what to do once you're in routing to help schedule yourself and what a lot of the settings mean is where Noah kicked in with that great video that you'll find in the training. You can now set a delivery and pickup time for an order while you're placing the order. This truly is a new feature, and I'm rolling over more of the we've already had it stuff, but we've had the set delivery window for quite some time. But we did not have the ability to see it right at the cart. Used to, you had a complete order, it was already activated, and then when you come back a few days later or a week later to work on your delivery schedule, you could set delivery to be different than the event date. Now, the moment you add an item to the cart, that set delivery option is there, so while you're on the phone taking an order, you can have that conversation immediately with the client. Hey, your party is on Wednesday from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. in this example, but I would like to deliver to you the evening before on Tuesday at about 4 o'clock. Is that okay with you? And by, instead of clicking change, which would change your event time and day, you can now see and use the set delivery at the cart level and be able to have that conversation and change it with the client immediately. This will not affect their pricing, because obviously having a range now that spans 2 days because of the delivery would normally adjust your price rule sets. This has nothing to do with pricing or the event itself. It will remain intact that the event is still only Wednesday from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., but you are now acknowledging to the system and to your client that you'll deliver Tuesday around 4 o'clock, and you're still going to pick up on Wednesday, but you're actually going to be about 30 minutes after the end time of 2:30 in this example, so that availability is now correctly monitored. So in fact, what's happening is now these items cannot rent out on Tuesday evening when they are unavailable because of delivery and setup. Texting the route to the driver. Well, that got swapped. Sorry, guys. That probably should have been right after I talked about Noah's great video of routing. But I just wanted to point out here that if you're going to use the texting feature of sending the driver the text about their schedule, you do have to make sure that everybody that works for you is under users and that they have their phone number in place and their mobile carrier selected. Oftentimes, if people are using something that's a little out of sorts, like my guy's got a Cricket phone, what do I select? It's very simple to Google what is the email to text for a Cricket phone, and it'll tell you to choose Verizon or whoever. AT&T, I think, actually bought Cricket. But you can Google to know what to select, and if a mobile carrier is ever not there that you know you need, a quick email to support, and we can always get it added for you. Also, part of routing and the send to driver is you can have this automated. There is a setting in routing settings that the moment you click route after assigning a driver, it will auto send to the driver 12 hours before their scheduled departure. Or you can turn off the automatic and physically use the send to driver button so that you can control when you send the text to the drivers. Just a few reports, tips, and tricks. One thing that you have probably learned about event rental systems across your time using it, whether you're a long time or short time user, is there are so many financial and statistical reports to choose from. So I'm not going to pinpoint all of them. I'm just glancing through a few to point out some that I think are very useful and that we tend to forget to use. A coupon report, for example, this is a great opportunity for you to track sales and advertising. So, for example, your local school asks you to do an advertisement in the local school paper. Purposely create a coupon code that you would never give to anybody else, that is specific only to that paper, so that at the end of the running of that advertisement, you can come to your coupon report and actually know that you did or did not make sales from that advertisement specifically. Knowing that the coupon was never shared anywhere other than that advertisement would let you see that it was a waste of time or a great financial commitment that you'll maybe want to repeat again with other schools, just as an example. It's also a great way to track repeat customers. Your system is set up at admin documents automatic messages to automatically send a letter or an email 320 days after an event, which is around the 45 day before the 1 year mark, which is statistically when parents are planning birthday parties yet again. And you can include a clause in there or add a statement for that letter that says, please use coupon code REPEAT, for example, and get $10 off, $5 off. You can make the amount very minimal and not really lose money. It is a great tracking tool that now you can come back to your repeat customer coupon report and know how many of your clients are actually returning clients based on that, and actually reading that email that's being generated. The emails are being paid attention to on some level. Tax report. I just like to point out that the tax report is the most useful for you and your filing. There is an accrual tax report, and then there is the cash tax report. So everybody does business differently. So both are available under reports for you to use. And you can filter by city for those of us that need to pay separate sort of taxes by city. Soon to come is the option to sort by state as well, because we now are, with growth, having clients that cross the borders and need to pay different taxes for different states. So that'll be released soon. I like to point out receivables, and I'm going to point this out, but I want to state a disclaimer before I do, because this one gets us in tech support every time I bring this up in a public format. Receivables should be empty. If it is not empty, somebody did not pay you. Sometimes it's not empty because their event hasn't come up yet and they should not have paid you. But if you decide to go look at this because I just brought this up and you go, oh my, yeah, they really paid me, I just forgot to come back with all the cash I collected and mark people paid, do not go backwards and mark them paid today. You will look like you made hundreds of thousands of dollars today. And now for 2021 financial reports in February, you will owe a lot of taxes. Your tax report will now be off because it's a cash tax report. So I'm just stating that receivables is a great way for you or your office manager to review daily or at least once a week after a busy weekend to make sure that you have gone through and collected. The moment you click the manage payments or the order number and process their card on file or mark the payment as cash or whatever you collected, it will disappear from the receivables report, showing that you have no receivables due, and it would move to the manage payments report. The manage payments holds all of your documented invoices, whether paid or unpaid. So another great resource to come back to and make sure that the amounts due are empty for that column, and if they're not, you're going to equally find those in the receivables report. Just two great reports to keep up with the busy weekends. The order adjustments report is a really awesome way to filter by and view what you may or may not be making off of those questions and answers. Order options are obviously the ability for you to ask any question in the world and the answers can cost them. But also part of the adjustments are your taxes and travel fees and those other things, coupons, So this is a great resource for you to know what you might be making off of your damage waiver, or what you might be making off of travel fees. So it's another great resource. Whoops, my bad, I skipped. Rain checks. The rain checks report is the ability for you to review and confirm that your clients do or do not have rain checks on file when they do call back after months or years asking to use that money they left behind with you. If you pay attention to the status column, if you notice that it says active, there is no longer a rain check on file that you can apply to a new order because somebody went back to the past order that was canceled with rain check and reactivated it. So reactivating the order allowed that payment to remain on that order. So we do not suggest that you ever activate a past event. You want to always, for historical reasons and for rain check reporting reasons, always create a new order on a client. Historically, you want to know that Bobby Joe rented from you multiple times. If you just go reactivate the same order from back in October of last year and change the date and time to March of this year, you just wiped out the historical value that that person was a client last year in October and now a client again in March. So always create new orders and apply the rain checks to the new orders. The catch, rain checks are kept and retained by that email address. So we often in support get an email that says, I know this person has a rain check. They're right here on the rain check report, but when I go to the payment screen, there is no rain check. Typically, we go to the old order in the past and check the email address, and there's either a typo, and there's a difference between the email addresses, or an unseen space after or before the email address, causing the programming or the system to not recognize that the rain check is applied and this is an exact match. So just remove the space off of one or both of them and submit or update so they both match. Go back to the payment screen and you'll find your rain check. Sales by city is a great opportunity for you to know where you might need to focus your advertising dollars. And when you're in sales by city, you can also filter that down to see sales by zip if you would so like to know what areas in that city you maybe do the most sales, or again, the least amount of sales that your advertising dollars might be dependable and needed. Employee reports. There's an entire section there of a few reports that allows you to go through and see maybe some of the statistics of which of your employees. These are important only if you are creating separate user accounts for each person that works for you, and making sure that they are not logging in as yours and they are using their own login and password on the link into your ERS system so that you can track this information correctly. Keep in mind, the mileage report will only work if you are using routing. Routing is what is tracking how many miles to and from events. A quick tip here is items past and future rentals, kind of a favorite that came out a few years back, that you can click into any inventory item and scroll way down below even the save and submit button and see the recent item history and the future item rentals. This is a great tool when you're missing something. You go back to your warehouse to load up for a busy weekend to realize that your SpongeBob banner is missing. If you go into the SpongeBob banner in your inventory, knowing it's connected to certain units in your system, and check the recent history, you'll be able to see who had it last and call that client to hopefully retrieve your inventory. This is also a great tool on the future item rentals when you are choosing to sell or get rid of a damaged or worn out older item. You need to go see all the future rentals so that you can tell the new buyer that they can have the unit after XYZ date, or you can choose to call the clients and swap them out for something different so you can make your sale but know that you're not needing that unit in the future, but this allows you to know if it is rented or not. The insurance report, I just wanted to point out that works with Casio Insurance. You can send your insurance the report directly by simply visiting the insurance report under reports. And when you click on the choose agent, there is a very long list of the employees that might be servicing you and helping you with your insurance at Casio Insurance. And because Casio has a relationship with Event Rental Systems to offer the 10% discount for your first year with them on your insurance, and then ERS will also honor 10% off your monthly bill, we have chosen to, for that first year that you're with Casio and ERS, we've chosen to have an insurance report that's specific to them. It's what they requested and what they need to get you approved. ERS Pay reports for reconciliation are hugely important because all of us are moving over to ERS Pay or have already. And this is how you will reconcile and monitor and watch your income and outgoing fees and transactions with ERS Pay. Many reports here to go through, and they're probably self-explanatory. The ERS payments list is the most important and probably the one you would be on the most. It is all transactions that have been batched and funded. They are grouped by date of batching so that you know that that money was sent to your bank on that date and the grand total. Some of us have the fees pulled out daily. So this also helps you to see that although you might have collected $1,500, your deposit coming to you might only be $1,350 after fees were removed. Transaction fees, that is. And the ERS Pay multi-invoice breakdown, I just like to point out that in your CRM, if you were to search a very specific client or company that you might work with on a regular basis, on the right-hand side in the CRM allows you for billing. You can run one mass bill for multiple invoices, and often they might come back to you a week later and say, hey, I paid you $1,500, but which invoices was that paying for? The ERS Pay multi-invoice breakdown will let you share with them exactly which invoices received which dollar amounts. Many other reports there as we have with ERS as a whole, and they're just fun to click through and try to learn and realize which ones are most important for you. The driver app is a very huge, amazing product that, again, no additional cost to our ERS users to have a driver app and use it. This, again, is for your drivers. This was not meant for owners to get the app downloaded on their phone and try to conduct business with ERS, although the app, if you are listed as an administrator in your system, will allow you to take orders from the app. It was truly more focused for the delivery crew. They cannot see a route unless you assigned it to them. In the app, they need to download the app. They can clock in and clock out so that the tracking tool will work for you. There's many features, including them collecting for you or getting contracts signed right there with a stylus or finger in the field, right on their mobile device if clients had forgotten to sign the contract. But because there's so much involved, I would like to implore you to find the Event Rental Systems YouTube page, where there are so many training videos, but specifically look for the driver app video that Noah created. It's huge, but inclusive to everything you need to know to help your drivers learn and use the driver app. This is an example of how they might get the signature with their finger or stylus out in the field if a client had forgotten to sign. And a hugely important feature, and I'm learning this more as I am ERS Pay support, so I am learning more with chargebacks, how important this feature can be for insurance reasons, if heaven forbid anything were to ever file claim to your insurance. But those chargebacks are even being won because there is a photograph of the address in the setup area. The photographs that your drivers can take on the driver's app automatically populate right into the CRM for that event, and they're forever retained there. So if 6 months later somebody tries to come back and say that they were hurt, it wasn't staked down, something went wrong, or heaven forbid a chargeback, part of sending in so that ERS Pay can try to defend you is to send in all of the photographs of the setup along with the signed contracts. And that rolls into the CRM. So the CRM is our very own customer relations manager. It absolutely was not modeled off of or mocked by anyone else's. So it is one of our own that we have put together that in a way that we feel was best useful for our industry and our needs, and had some great feedback for some leaders in the industry on what they needed it to do as far as task reminders and searching clients and doing those mass billing payments. You can add prospects in the CRM. So maybe you have a sales team that makes cold calls, and or vice versa. You have people just calling in saying, I wondered if you can simply get a first name and an email address off of them and get that into, they can become a prospect in your CRM so that you're mass emailing. If you use ERS mail, we'll target them when you choose to filter them into any of your emailing blasts, but also retain them as part of your CRM so that you can label them as future prospects and maybe convince them to rent from you. Also accessible in the CRM is the gift cards, text, tasks, and contracts. So you can add those images and view them. I believe I had screenshots, but I guess I did not. I'm sorry, so I was just checking. Gift cards, just to break it down, is just the ability to check balances for your clients. If you are not selling gift cards in your ERS system, you're simply losing out on an opportunity of cash now. And definitely not for everyone, because it does mean working for free later when you do the delivery. So I understand that. But if you are not currently selling gift cards in your ERS software and would like to, go to the help and in knowledge-based search gift cards. If you set it up in the very specific fashion that our system guides you to do, it does not count as inventory against your monthly billing with ERS, no matter how high or low the dollar amount of the gift cards. And if set up correctly, the client is forced to pay in full a gift card dollar amount on their sale, but then their emailed receipt gives them a unique code and PIN number so that when checking out on your payment screen later, they have the ability to punch in that unique code and PIN and cash in that dollar amount for whomever they gifted it to. You can do the text messaging feature from the CRM to send those texts. And those texts, if you are not using ERS's text messaging feature, which is an additional add-on, you can go to admin, general config text messaging to look at the pricing structure, or on your home page, click on the ERS marketplace to review that. But sending texts allows you through the CRM to click and send by specific customer names or a specific event date. Or you can set up automatic texting that works just like the automatic messages to go out X days before or X days after an event. You can see the tasks for your customers. So if you are assigning tasks in the CRM to your staff, so for example, you can assign your office manager to call them on Thursday to get the site plan layout. Then it would, when your office manager logs in, her tasks on the right-hand side of her home screen will remind her that she has that task to do, and it is color-coded, so if she forgets to do it, he or she, it will turn red when that time passes. And you can also click here to see your signed and unsigned contracts, which is very beneficial on a busy weekend to quickly know the few people that might need a quick text or a quick phone call to say you forgot to sign your contract and you need to do that, or we're not going to deliver and set up. Adding images in the CRM for an event, I've already gone over this and then come to the screenshot, so I apologize for my disorganization, but this also applies that not only in the driver app can they take pictures that upload, you can physically come in the CRM and click on event images and upload your own images. So if a client gave you a delivery layout image of instructions, you could link it right inside the CRM to that event or that client, or any documentation, maybe some tax exempt forms or something that you want to forever hold on file for that client. Location overview is a fun one. I think I'll stop there because my timing is up, or it is not. Can I keep going? I get to keep going.
45 minutes.
Oh wow, I have all kinds of time. Holy cow, we scheduled me a lot. Thanks. Okay, location overview is just a fun one. I actually, one of my good pals, Jim Edmonds, really used to love this one, probably still uses it to this day, but he's the one that brought it to my attention. I didn't even know it existed in ERS until he brought it up a few years ago that he wanted something on the feature, and I said, Rob, Jim seems to think that we have this thing, and Rob said, yeah, we have this thing. So location overview has been there for a long time. It is the ability for you to put in a date range, and see where you have been visually on a map with the pin markers for that city, zip code, or address group. And it's quite fun, but it's also statistically letting you see where you might be going out to or reaching to, that you might want to bring it in a little bit and stop servicing that far out area because you thought you were making a lot of money out there, but 2 or 3 bubbles over there might be proving otherwise. I did actually just mention, because I was talking about the CRM, that you can go to the marketplace and look at the text messaging features. Again, this works just like automatic messages. You can set up a few pre-made messages that will auto-send so many days before or after an event. And you also have the ability, through the text messaging feature, to send those messages by event start date, by event end date, or by name. You can also use the text messaging feature within the routing system to start texting clients your arrival times if you sign up for this. Email templates. This is one that is underused but amazing for sales opportunities. But it's also a way to reach out to your clients, even on one-offs. But when you write that one really great letter, that great email that you could never probably recreate again, and then 6 months later you kind of need the same one, just create them in your documents under the email templates. And if you pre-make your emails, when you're on your scheduling calendar, you can physically click on a client's name or email address, and it will pop up this entire list and allow you to select which email they might need for that day, allow you to make a few edits to it right there on screen, and then send it out to that one person. So for example, you can see in this list a couple of examples, but you were late to the event, your crew didn't show up in time, so you want to give them an apology email. We're sorry that this happened. It'll let you edit a little bit what happened, throw in another line for a coupon you might be offering for the mistake, and shoot out an email. No additional cost to use email templates. And this is an example of where you, from scheduling, can click on the client's name, choose the appropriate email template, and then send it off. Organizing by header. So many of my clients don't realize that this is available to you in most reports and documents, as well as inventory and category areas. Clicking on the header titles to a list that you're in, whether in spreadsheet mode or browse mode, helps you can organize to that. So for example, clicking name alphabetizes all of your inventory to quickly see everything in alphabetical order to make edits. And if you ever click this and you see your zebra bounce house at the very top, and you know zebra should not have alphabetically been the first item up there, if you click on it, you'll notice you probably have a couple spaces in front of it by accident. So remove your spaces. That'll also let you see when you might have, I wouldn't call them typos, but the spaces are affecting your URL. You now have spaces on your item link, so you can quickly also see things like that. You can also click on type and group the types together. All of your packages would group together, all of your regular items would group together, and it allows you to quickly work through packages sometimes if you group them together. Clicking on category, it organizes by category, and so on. Refunding an ERS pay is easy and has no cost. One of the biggest questions I got when I first started ERS pay support was, I guess a lot of the other large payment gateway options do have a small fee for refunding. As well, they already collected the transaction fee for processing the original payment and transaction. ERS pay, we are not charging to refund. You have already collected, we have already batched the payment, taken the transaction fees from the original payment. So that is between you and your client, that you may want to pull back that 2.89% or 3% when you do the refund, and not refund the entirety because you did already pay the fees for batching. But we are not charging you a fee to process that refund. When you click on the transaction that you originally took, the first window does offer you to void or refund. Void is the best way to go. If you just took the payment today and it has not gone through batching, or just took it this weekend, so it has not hit batching, void is an option. And it never hurts to try void. It will tell you this transaction is not eligible for void. That simply means we did already go through batching, and that's not an option. But void makes the transaction completely disappear off of their adjustments, so they'll never see it. And it does quickly void the transaction to their institution as well. It doesn't change that the hold on their card might still be 3 to 5 business days before they see the release, but it does remove the transaction. So now you've paid no transaction fees, no processing fees, no batching fees, because you voided before batching. But refunding, if you do need to use refund, because voiding is not an option, clicking the refund button does then display on the very next screen the option to put some notes that will move over to that event's notes box for the refunding reason to remind yourself, but also then let you change the amount. It can be scary to click refund payment and think that it's just giving the whole money back. It is not. You've got another window of opportunity to change the amount and not refund the full balance. And then again, you would quote your client that 3 to 5 business days, they should see the money back in their account. Quick quotes. Quick being the optimal word there, that it is so nice that if you will do a quick quote, got my slides backwards, sorry, so I'm going to jump here. If you'll do a quick quote, there's so much less information that is required. And then if you are putting the manage event link into your emailed quote receipt, it will allow your clients to come back in and finish the checkout process, so you don't have to sit there and what is your name, what is your phone number, what is your address. They know this information, let them do it. Quick quote, you add the items to the cart that the client is wanting quote for, give it all of the right discounts and costs that you want to. Once you are done at the cart, if you click that green CRM icon, it brings you into the CRM where all that is required is their name and email address. You are welcome to fill out the rest of the information. It is all there, but it's not required for you and your staff on the back end, because again, if you've got that manage event link in their emailed quote, they can fill all of this out so much easier and quicker than you can. But having them back in their order can also promote somebody wanting to add more items, because the manage event link in quotes does not let them delete the items that they've already been quoted, but it will let them add to the order and possibly raise your average ticket by getting them back into the order. But once you have filled out at least their first name and email, you can click send quick quote on the next screen, and it will send out the quote that lets them know this is not an actual order, and let them continue and fill out the order for you. This is actually the emailed receipt that they would get, where it allows them, click here to complete your order. That's what'll put them back into their own order and let them fill out that information. Employees and users. There is a timeout in minutes at the bottom of every user that you add when you're putting in your employees. I do not suggest having the timeout filled out for your own self. You are the owner of the company. If you are keeping your login and password to yourself, you don't want anything timing out while you're in a busy day and all day long need to run back to your computer. But your employees, we highly suggest that you put in some sort of timeout. This is a safety catch for you, that if there were ever a negative experience with an employee, you don't have to worry that they keep clicking around your system to remain logged in nonstop, and still have access even after being maybe fired or suspended. So putting in a timeout in minutes is just a safety catch for you and your company. Now, let me rewind to say that if they're truly fired and you delete them, they're instantly timed out. So if they go to click, even if they were logged in, if they go to click on another option on the screen, it would pop up to ask them to log in again, and the deletion of their account would not allow a username and password to work for them anymore. But if there were just a suspension, or, okay, I need to have a conversation with this person before I continue working with them, that timeout is really going to benefit you, that you can at least know that in 15 minutes they will not be in the system if they had kept it up on their computer or mobile device. WordPress customers. I just wanted to make sure that you guys do know that your WordPress plugin is bringing over your SEO. When creating your store in the ERS system, all items and categories and descriptions and the meta info is transferring over to join your WordPress site and its SEO to help you. We also would like all of our WordPress customers to know how important it is to check. I would check every couple of months, if not maybe monthly, for new versions. Make sure you are always on the latest and greatest version of our WordPress updates. If you visit admin website WordPress setup, you can see the newest version that we are on and confirm in your own WordPress site if the plugin that you're using matches. If you're not on the latest and greatest, you could be dealing with maybe bugs or fixes that we had to follow with WordPress updates. As they make changes, we often need to make changes to our plugin. So keep in mind how important it is to check on this. But even more important, when you do swap out to a new version, you must remove the old version completely from your WordPress site. You should only have one ERS plugin in at a time. They cannot work in a stacked format of leaving them all in place. Closures. I just wanted to touch base that remembering where closures is, I know, can be a pain point. That's what we're here for. That's what your knowledge base is for. That's what your ERS users group is for. Hopefully we're all in the group. It's a nice moment for me to actually put a little plug that if you are not in our Facebook users group, you are missing out on some tremendous peer support. Go to Facebook. Even if you're not much of a talker, not much of a Facebook fan, go to Facebook and search ERS users group and ask to join. Please know your folder name when you ask to join, because it is for users. You have to know your folder name to get in. And join the group so that when you can't remember where to close, you can quickly ask your peers, hey guys, how do I close for this weekend? I'm going to have my daughter's wedding, and get help from your peers. But I do like to point out in closures that closures must be done under universal availability. The key word here being universal. You want to universally shut down the website for this span of dates or singular date. And when you do the closure date or the span of closure dates, you can also put up a closure message. So if I close on Christmas, that particular date might say Merry Christmas, but the dates a week later will say Happy New Year because I'm closing for those 2 days. Closures allowing overlapping orders is truly a feature put in place that is more beneficial to our dumpster clients, but it can be used by anyone if you happen to be using our new open-ended schedule profiles, meaning that people choose a start date and time, but they have no end date and time because you don't know how long the item's going to stay there. It's there indefinitely until you close it out. You must use closures allowing overlapping. If you use closures and closure spans and you have any events using the open-ended to be determined end date where you do not have an end date in place, it will actually make your everything unavailable and make the system feel like, because you've got an open-ended TBD, that everything's always closed. So please just make a mental note that you have to use closures allowing overlapping if you are a DRS client or choose to use the no end date and time feature in schedule profiles. Quick order. Quick order is a back-end feature for you and your staff only that allows the ability for you and your staff to quickly place larger orders. Obviously, if I asked a client a date and time and they just wanted 1 unit, then shopping is just the same and just as easy. But when you're working with your schools and churches and they're on your website going, I want 1 of those, 2 of those, 4 of those, and 3 of those, how much would that cost me? You can actually get to the cart to add just the first item or the date and time only with order by date, and then click that quick order button on the right, and that'll bring you to your entire inventory in one screen for quick selection. They're categorized, so you can see all the bounce houses, then the concessions, then the tables and chairs, so on and so forth, separated. And through here, you can pick 1 of those, 1 of those, 1 of these, and hit submit on the screen, and the entire cart will populate with that entire order. And then click the green icon and send it off as a quick quote if they're undecided or need to present it to maybe the APS or PTA board for approval. This one is very interesting and a feature that I like a lot and used a lot when I was running the company Funtastic Jumps for Rob, that setup surface fees are applicable in two different places, and you need to decide for your business which one of the two places works best for you. If you go to admin order config setup surfaces and apply the fees here, it is a one-time fee per event period at the end. So if a school or a church rents half of your inventory and says, hey, it's all going on the basketball court, then they've got all of your inventory, but you're going to do it all on concrete for $45. Not usually what we want. We usually need sandbags or water barrels or whatever it is that we use in our company per unit, and $45 is not going to cut it if they rented half my inventory or even just a few of my large inflatables. That would not cover my charges and costs and my payroll. So I suggest never applying the one-time fee here. Leave the cost blank and empty in setup surfaces, and instead you can visit admin product categories and find the setup fees inside every category individually. This then allows you not only to have a different fee per category. Your bounce houses might be a $15 concrete, but your water slides might be a $40 concrete setup. But it's not only per category, but now it is going to charge per item in those categories. So if they rent 5 of your bounce houses, they are going to get the $15 concrete charge 5 times. So this one is about you thinking through your business and how you would want to collect the fees and make sure that you and your payroll are being compensated properly, and choosing whichever one works best for you. So in the category, you can see here that you can actually select the setup type and then give it a fee. If there is no fee, you don't need to select the setup type. You can leave it completely ignored, and there will be no fee assessed. This also allows you the ability to not charge any fees in some categories. Obviously, your entertainers, as well as maybe tables and chairs. It doesn't matter if you put them on dirt concrete, there's no charges. So this would also then remove the setup fee when people rent maybe only those items, if you use it by category. You can also, I'm not sure if it mentioned here, but I would like to, this does mention it. I'm sorry that I skipped over it verbally, but you can also then make the fee per item. So let's say that you do tell the water slide category that it's $50 per water slide, but you've got that one water slide, it's super bitty tiny. It could be the same charge as a bounce house. Then you can actually go to the individual item and tell the item to be a completely different fee, and that would override the category setup surface fee. I included this because we have changed the calendar views under scheduling quite some time. I think it's been a couple years back now, but we've changed it enough that I'd like to touch base on it again. That I think that it's very important that you become familiar with your different calendar views. There are so many options and opportunities to the different ways that you can view on the calendar that benefit you. For example, if you go to incompletes created, and especially if you check that daily, you have the ability to see where somebody started an order, did not complete it, but left you enough data to make a sale and quickly make the sale before they maybe changed their mind, went to another company, or made other birthday or celebratory arrangements. The selection modes on the left-hand side, when you are on your calendar view and select the word active at the top of your screen to get this mode open, allows you the different selectors, events list, summary, events expanded, and so on and so forth, allow you to see the different ways that you can view. But it's the right-hand side column that becomes even more important to, do you want to see all of your active events? Do you want to see only the active customer pickups? Do you want to see events that were created on a specific day? You and your family go on vacation, you get back, the staff says we were so busy, oh my gosh, it was blowing up. You can click on created and see the week that you were gone, what they were doing, and say, busy, you only took like 2 orders on Monday and 3 on Tuesday. It doesn't matter when the events are scheduled for, it lets you see the activity of how much work or how many people were taking or putting orders in on your system or on your website. And there's also the filtering option below all of this that would allow you to filter by the drivers. So if you have gone in and assigned your drivers, and then you want to go back to a previous week or month or weekend and see only the events that Yaya delivered, you would select Yaya, and then you can look at the active events and you would be able to specifically see in your calendar view those that were assigned to that driver. If you want your scheduling to always load to incomplete created, for example, let's say that you often cannot remember to go check the incomplete and make that sale. You can actually, by default, everything always loads to the active events, but you can tell it that you want your default to be incompletes created, and now the moment you select scheduling, you will always see the incompletes created instead of the active. Conditional auto messages. Auto messages by item. Automatic messages are already widely used. They're part of your default system that we automatically send out that survey the day after an event, the pre-rental reminder letter a couple or few days before an event. And what we've done here years ago, but a lot of us do not realize, is you can actually have an automatic message set up and it will not send to everybody the day before or the pre-rental reminder 4 days before, 2 days. It can send only to people that rented a specific item. So if you go into your availability rules and make an item specific or category specific rule, and as long as that category or item is named verbatim in the rule, as you see on the left side of the screen, then attach the rule to the letter. That letter will now only go out, in this example, 2 days before the event to talk about the mechanical bull and how they maybe need to prepare for your delivery if you make the automatic message conditional to those items or categories. Have an item out for repair, or maybe you just bought some new items. This is really a great feature after IAPA. You get back from IAPA, you're super stoked with an entire list of all the new products that you bought, but you got to sit on it. Can't add them to your inventory until they're here because people might start renting them. Not true with ERS. You add these into your inventory immediately when you get back, or heck, from the hotel the night after you paid for them, and you're not even back, and you use the reduced quantity by date. So if you bought a new snow cone machine, in my little example here, I tell the system now that I own 3, where I used to own 2. I now own 3, but 1 is en route. So I told the system I won't get it in till March 15th. Reduce my quantity by 1, meaning I own 3. So if I'm reducing by 1, I do still have 2 available, renting live on the website during those dates. But that third one is not available until after March 15th. But this is the great news. If somebody's on my website booking something for March 16th, they will be able to rent my third and final snow cone machine, or all 3 of my snow cone machines, because I've told the system it'll be available by that time. So this is, again, a really great feature when you've rented a bunch of new, purchased a bunch of new units at IAPA. Get them all in place, reduce quantity by, put in the date range of when you suspect it'll be in the middle of the spring or summer in the near future, and start making money on them. Get those rentals in advance. Adding a page to your navigation or editing an existing one is now best done from Admin Website Editor. Some of us veterans in the old school, we liked using the menu option at the top, Admin Website up there under the menus, but we have made it so much more simple, and it auto-creates some of the page for you, the URL to be exact. Have you ever had that mistake of I made a new page but nobody can see it, and then you've got tech support saying, well, the page path was wrong. Well, right, how would I know how to make a page path? Right, you don't need to know. Click Website Editor, tell the system in the Website Editor that you're creating, add a new page or add a new link. Add page, the system will ask you, what do you want to name the page? And, sorry, I clicked. What do you want to name the page? And once you give it a name, it auto creates that URL for you. It will be accurate without mistakes. And then literally clicking on the page name, in this example, like home, would open the editor to edit and work on your home page. You also can click the add link, and it'll ask you, what do you want to name the page? And you can tell it something like training. And then it asks you what the link is, and I, for example, would link it to ersfast.info/routing training and I would just literally copy that URL from my own website and paste it in, and now on my website I would now have a page in navigation called training, but clicking on it would open my training page. It would link directly. So it's done for you if you use this feature here. A few of the latest and greatest features in the responsive website builder. When you are at admin website responsive setup, you have so many options of headers that you can use, but also back in that original, my apologies, I'm trying to go backwards. In here, if you were to click on home from here, when it opens your home page to edit, you can physically click on the header up on the home page and it will give you the header options. So much easier than the old way where we were doing it here with the drop downs. In the editor, you can also see the footer options so that you can change footer styles. So you literally click on the footer and see the different choices that we offer for a footer. If you choose no footer, which is absolutely fine, you can then go to admin documents and there is a document called site footer. And if you don't see it, please let tech support know so we can add it. But you can then physically create a footer. Maybe you just want something that literally just says copyright and your company name and nothing more. That's fine. If that's what you want as a simplistic footer, then you can do that in your documents by selecting no footer and then go to the document and create it yourself. Another great feature and setting that a lot of us don't realize maybe is here and in place is that you can limit the amount of bookings. I personally do not comprehend limitation on sales. But the reality is sometimes we don't have the staff to take on too much. So if you know that your max events in a day maybe are 12, then you should use the settings that says I max out at 12 events per day. There is a setting for that. But there's also these settings where you can have the max booking setting is for the day, but you can also restrict just the max orders per hour. There is also a max orders per ending hour. So if you're one of those all day long, one low price type of companies, then you need max orders per hour because everybody's going to say their party starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 10 p.m. That's your hours of operation, and you just told me I won't get charged extra for keeping it all day. So if you use max orders per hour in your availability rules and tell the system that you want to max out at 3 or 4 per hour, then once you've got 3 events that start at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. is the only option available to your customers. Once there's 3 at 9 a.m., they can only choose 10 a.m. and so on. And so that's a really great feature in your availability rule sets at admin rules availability rule sets within your general availability, which is what is used to link, or honestly, you can put it in universal availability. Universally across your website, you will now block anybody from exceeding so many orders per hour. You can also choose to block an hour. So this block hour feature, and in this example says 14. 14 is 2 o'clock. I believe, right? Isn't 14 2 o'clock? Thank you. So unfortunately, it reads the clock time in 1 2 3 4 5, in a 24 hour, but it doesn't have you put on the :00 p.m. So 14 just says the 2 o'clock hour, meaning from 2 to 3 o'clock. Nobody can book 2 or 2:30. I had this feature requested because a gentleman wanted to start giving a lunch hour during the delivery and setup. Whether or not this benefited him and helped, I'm not 100% sure. Ismail can tell us later. But he wanted to make sure that the 1 o'clock hour was completely blocked out. Nobody could ever say that their party started then, so that he could get some of the morning deliveries out, give his boys a little break to grab a breakfast burrito or something, and then get back on task. So you can also block very particular hours in your schedule. This isn't all or none, though. This is not per day. This is just blocking an hour every day that you're open and available from being rented as the start time. We also have a block ending hour, I believe, but don't quote me on that one. I didn't get a screenshot. This is something Rob was talking about earlier. When you're in spreadsheet mode, you actually have the ability to get your mouse at the edge of any box that you're working on and expand and stretch it out so that you can see everything in its entirety that you might be working on. This is really best with meta info when you're working in the meta area. Pardon me, sorry, I don't know where the mute button is. And thank you, Rob. Sorry, guys. So that's just a great feature to know that you can expand that. This I just wanted to point out. I don't have a lot of hubbub about it. I just wanted everybody to know that didn't know that ERS does have a point of sale system. We do have this option. It's best used probably for the indoor facilities. I do have some delivery companies that also allow customer pickup and have the appropriate office space and warehouse set up that they do use the point of sale system on some level, even right inside the warehouse. It allows you to have up to 2 terminals and unlimited waiver stations. So especially if you're an indoor facility, you would be able to use an iPad as your cash register system. And that iPad can even connect remotely to a receipt printer, as well as a cash register drawer, so that everything would function just the way it would with a true traditional cash register through the iPad on the ERS system, so that you can check clients out, get their payment. And the waiver stations are very important on most of the indoor facilities, because you have people coming in that you need them to sign a waiver of their rights and responsibilities while they're in your facility. So you can set up iPad stations, and again, because it's unlimited with ERS, as many as you need for crowd control, and have folks actually sign the waiver with finger or stylus on the iPads and devices right there in your facility. You can also use a link on your live website that links to the waiver that allows them to pre-sign, because when they do come up to the register, again via the CRM, you'll be able to see who has and has not signed and registered properly to be in your facility, and send them to the waiver station if they had not done it in advance. So just a little information on this screen. And again, these screen shares are going to be shared in some format, PDF or something, on the ERS users group later. So no need to fret if you're not catching screenshots or writing down quickly, or if I'm talking too fast or too much. You'll be able to review back to these and refer back to these. Incomplete order alerts. I wanted to point out that this feature, Send Incomplete Order Alert To, allows you to input an email address there, so that whatever email address is there will be alerted when somebody leaves your website with an incomplete order and did not complete their an active event. By default, it's set to 20 minutes. So if I am on your live website, keep in mind, folks, if you're testing this feature, it does not work on the back end or clicking the logo to view what is perceived as your back end. That's all for testing, and the system is intelligent enough to know that you're still on the back end, so you must be a staff member, and it's not going to alert you that a staff member left an order incomplete. On the live website, if somebody puts enough data to make a sale, a phone number, an email address, something got saved on the system, whether that be at the cart level if you ask for email there, or through the checkout process, but they did not pay and submit the order, or submit without receipt for those of you that allow it, in a 20-minute window, at the 20-minute mark, you will receive an email. 20 minutes has been by default perceived to be okay, it's been long enough, I don't think they're gonna finish. But you control that alert window. So if you would like that 20 minutes to be more or less, please know that you can adjust that in your settings. Again, go to knowledge base, and under help, and go to knowledge base and search keyword incomplete order, and you'll be able to find the steps to adjust that setting of time if you would like. This is only available to Pro Plus or Elite members that are soon to expire out of Elite until Rob announces the next exciting ERSCon 1-year announcement of what will be coming next. So Pro Plus customers are the ones that can use this. So if you do not, and you're only sitting at standard and want to be Pro Plus for this feature or any of the other Pro Plus features, all you've got to do is email Susie at eventrentalsystems.com, and that's SUSIE, Susie at eventrentalsystems.com, so that she can just check your billing and let you know what the increase would be. For most of us, it's like a $20 change. Admin general config miscellaneous settings allows you to allow a minimum amount button that can be met by total or subtotal. You get to choose. But if you go into the settings, you can include pay minimum subtotal button or include minimum total button. This is available to you to turn on as desired, But what it simply does is, rather than telling a client that their minimum order was not met and have the order stop and not give them a payment type, instead, they are not allowed to pay unless they click here to pay the difference. So they can either continue shopping and add the few more items that they need to meet your minimum requirement, or they can do the click here to pay the difference. And click here to pay the difference, as you can see, automatically adds minimum amount fee, $31. They've now met the difference. You would not believe how successful this is. You and I look at it, and our initial reaction is, I am not going to just give you free $31 for nothing just because. And yes, they will. They actually will. Yes, they might continue shopping and see if there's something around the $30 range that'll bump it, but some of us are just in a hurry to book the event. $31 feels like nothing to get this finalized and get, little Susie's birthday party going, and they will use this feature. It's been very successful. This I just wanted to point out. It's gotten less attention lately because I think those that wanted to use it have. But if you have your own business Facebook page and you have at least 2,000 followers or more, this is not to be mistaken with likes. This is not 2,000 likes. It is 2,000 followers. That's a Facebook requirement, not ours. We can help you integrate your store, your actual website, right into your Facebook. And so you just need to email support if you know that you've got at least 2,000 plus followers, so that you can add Josh from our support team as an administrator to your Facebook page long enough for him to set it up for you. No additional charge, just a courtesy from ERS that we know how to do it, so we want to help you if you would like that implemented. Whoops. Mass emailing with ERS Mail. One of my favorite newer features is ERS Mail. Absolutely love. We've always offered the integrations to some of the more popular mass emailing companies such as Constant Contact, Infusionsoft, and so on, MailChimp. But nothing is better than having a mass emailing option that the filters are specific to your business. You can filter who you are targeting as your audience based on things that you do in your system. For example, order options. You can actually filter by order option. So if you ask your clients if they want the damage waiver, you cannot filter in MailChimp to only send to people that actually purchased the damage waiver last year or did not. A customer's rental date is unknown by an integration to an outside third-party mass emailing company. So if you would like to sign up for and start using ERS Mail, you can do so from your marketplace. So click on your home page, and to the right there at the top is marketplace. But if you use ERS Mail, you would have the ability to select from any one of these different filtering options, the very bottom one being anyone, meaning everybody in your CRM that's ever done business with you and had an active event would get this email. And these are the different letters that you might possibly have in place to send out. And once these letters are edited and sent to this group of people, you even get to see how many contacts it was sent out to. One-page quick checkout. The ERS Pay quick checkout is, it's actually still in process. There are additional features that we want to put to it and apply to it to make it work even better. And then it soon is going to be released for live websites. Optional, of course, just like it is on the back end right now. Right now, those of you that have ERS Pay have already seen, and if you have not seen it, you need to go to Admin Order Config, Miscellaneous Order Settings, and down almost to the very bottom, you need to find and check mark to use ERS Pay single page checkout. And that way, when you hit scheduling book and you have ERS Pay, you should see two options. One is to do the full online ordering checkout, and now you have the one-page quick checkout. This one-page quick checkout allows you to do everything on this one screen, the entire checkout process, but also your store. When you click Add More, your entire category base pops up. You click on a category, your entire inventory in that category populates for you. The only fields required on the quick checkout, again, are first name and email address. And then you can go down to the bottom right corner and pay or submit as a quote, or submit without payment and send off what would be called the virtual terminal receipt. Unlike your emailed receipt that is inclusive of all of your bullet points and it's a complete emailed confirmation, this one's a much shorter version of here's what you're getting kind of thing without bullet points. So if you would like your virtual terminal receipt that is being sent when you use this quick checkout to be the same as your emailed receipt, it's imperative that you go into your documents, admin documents, general documents, and simply do it from the source. Do not do it directly on the screen. Click the source button on receipt and copy everything in the source and go to the virtual terminal receipt and erase everything out of source and paste in receipt source. And then they'll be identical. Otherwise, right now, quick checkout is sending a very simplistic, shortened version of an emailed receipt. Open-ended rentals. I was mentioning earlier that if you do closures and you're using open-ended rentals, our dumpster customers are doing so. So when they drop off a dumpster, they have no idea how many days before it's going to be filled and completed and ready for pickup. So their rentals are always open-ended. And then when they go pick it up, they have a selector that they close the ticket and it gives it that timestamp and date of the date of pickup. Then it's finally closed. So just a heads up that we do have an open-ended option on our schedule profile. So it's a little different than select your start time and your end time. Instead, it's just selecting start date and time and leaving the end date and time open-ended. The conversion booster. This is a great option for those of us that are truly into watching our analytics. The ERS conversion booster is an add-on that you will find when you click admin. You've got the 3 large boxes across the front of the screen under your menu options, and on the far right with the website editor is the conversion booster package button. There are lots of conversion booster insights once you follow the instructions and get everything plugged in and set up that you can see the top pages. This gives you a total of your page views, user sessions, and pages per session. You can also even view the breakdown of each individual page in your website. You can also see visits. Visits allows you to track how many people have visited the site, the average amount of pages that they visit per session, and so on. So just really great analytics that's available to you internally on the system. The Conversion Booster Insights also offer, shows you how many sessions you've had and how many of those sessions resulted in a conversion. So it actually lets you see, based on the visits to the site, how many actually went ahead and paid and activated an order. The heat map is probably one of the funnest of the analytics that you get with the Conversion Booster, that you can physically see where people are clicking on your page. So if you see a lot of heat or red, as you can see in this screenshot, there's a lot of green to right over the Yelp, the Y in the Yelp link, but also on the I in the info at party with, that people are constantly clicking on the Yelp and the info app, probably to send in questions or to see if there's any coupons or something if they're a Yelp client. So knowing that people were clicking there, if this doesn't really click and lead to anything, you now can visually see where you have a website mistake that you can remedy quickly. Make it link to something valuable and get yourself set up for a Yelp coupon or advertisement or something to really close that sale. Last but not least, in the Conversion Booster, ever wonder if updating your website's color or changing some sort of effect, like the call to action from where it's currently located to a different spot on the page, would actually make you better sales? I know that this is a common topic, that people feel like the look and feel of the website can change their conversions. And I'm sure that there's great truth to that, but the proof is in the pudding. So we have the split testing. So you can physically make 2 different home pages where one is maybe background in all red, where the other one is blue, and then let it run for a couple of weeks and actually see which, if any, is making you the most sales. And we have put this together in such a way that we're not even affecting duplicate content, as you might worry. You leave it on for a couple weeks, you do the testing, you get the results, and then you choose your color. That might permanently become your new website. This is more in information on how to create one or more of those alternate versions of like an extra home page, and how to do the setup. But that's also, the instructions are in the conversion booster if you do sign up. You can set up page goals for each of the alternate page versions. So it's a lot of inclusive information that's worth clicking on the conversion booster and looking into. It is an additional feature with ERS. It is an add-on, but it's absolutely worth it for those of us that are really into the analytics. Okay. Not sure what's different, but Rob fixed it. It's not broken no more. So anyway, when you are in the responsive editor building new links or pages, you can, after you have created a page or pages that you already have, you can click the pencil icon on the right of that page and toggle scope. Toggle scope then applies it to footer only. Toggle the scope again and it will bring it back into the navigation. Now take note, all of your navigation already is also part of your footer, but doing this toggle scope, if you've selected the type of footers that have the navigation at the bottom, which most of them are, but the difference is toggle scope applies this certain page only to the footer. For example, a privacy policy page you have to have on a live website in order to legally accept credit cards online and take payments online. So it's a page though that means nothing to anybody. It's a legality. So why show it off up in the navigation when nobody wants to read it anyway? So that would be one I'd suggest that you toggle scope on and move it down to the footer. You also, under that same pencil icon that you can toggle scope, you can also copy page. Copy page from here copies everything verbatim, the content as well. It will ask you for the new page name. Our system is intelligent enough to know that you can't have two exact page paths, and the name of a page is its page path. So it will have you rename the page, but this is a great feature when you're creating those landing pages. You create one and then you copy it and make sure to go through and update it significantly throughout the content to be about the new city. But at least some of the structure can remain the same of where you have your images versus content versus links and things like that. You're just updating that content to match that location. If you know what you're doing, you can also take the time to create your own custom elements that do become drag and drop in options. This is done at admin document source code. If you click for the help web section help in source code, it actually provides you examples. This simple header in code is available to you under that help section. And if you were to use that to make some alterations to what you would maybe want a header to be, and then in the source code page you would add new, name it like my custom header, you can name it anything you want, and paste that code within that page. That would allow you to custom design your own header or footer, whatever you might want to do. And in the source code area there is actually numerous options in the web section help for headers and other pages. It's not just about headers and footers, but just wanted some of you that do have a little bit of HTML or CSS knowledge to know that that source code is available to anybody, as long as you're level 10, admin level. But yeah, it's exposed to everybody. And display name. Display names need not be filled in unless you're using them for the reason that they were. I see a lot of people that write snow cone machine twice, for example. You don't need special display name filled in at all. It's null and void and just waste of your time unless you're using it for the purpose that it was brought about for. And that was that we had many people wanting to, like in this example, color their titles. So in this case, snow cone machine is blue instead of this traditional black or gray that the website had. So putting that HTML around the word snow cone machine in the name was actually injecting all of that code into the URL itself on the website. So when people would click the snow cone machine, it was actually filling the entire website address browser with all that code plus the word, really interrupting what could help with Google crawling for the keywords of snow cone machine, that URL was a mess. So we have in place special display name, meaning anything weird or different that you would like to display about your standard name of your item can be done in special display name, and therefore name of the item would never be seen by your public, but would still become the URL. So on the internet, it would still just be simple snow cone machine. So your keywords are still focused on. There is a new CRM layout that I wanted to point out as well. So many of you might have seen it. It's optional to have that view right now. So many of you are still using the traditional screen that you're used to searching. When you go into the CRM, it's just got the one search box. But if you go ahead and click to update under the customers tab and turn this view on, you now can have all of your most recently viewed clients and orders are in the screen below. There's filtering options, but then you also have all of these other search and new search are obvious, but create would let you create a new order from right on screen. Contracts lets you view those signed and unsigned contracts right from here. You can start a mass email campaign if you've got ERS mail signed up. Text messaging, jumping right into texting right from here if you're using the text messaging feature. And last but not least, you've also got the gift cards option that you can click from here to check gift card balances right from the CRM under that new view. Also wanted to point out that within the CRM, if you've ever marked a customer bad, that is a feature that means they cannot rent online from you, and they will never receive your email marketing anymore. It puts them on the do not send list immediately. So if you're using ERS mail for your mass emailing and you do a filter search, all bad clients are excluded. But I wanted to point out that within the CRM itself, excuse me, you can see folks that are marked bad. So if you searched a client, you immediately see the label to the right that tells you they're bad, and there is the ability to click clear if you want to clear them off that label. Because sometimes people that we've deemed bad apologize or move and relocate, and maybe sometimes they're marked bad because it was more of the situation of their location, not necessarily the people. And so you want to be able to clear bad people. So the bad feature is something that's by default on everybody's system. If for any reason you don't find that you have it, you do need to email support to ask that good and bad customer feature be added. But in the actual checkout process, you should have a drop-down window on the customer info section or at the very end of the checkout process that says status. The status doesn't need to be anything. By default, everybody is good. You do not have to select it every order or event. It's not a required field. But again, the moral of the story is when they are marked bad, they are unable to order online. As a matter of fact, they get a message that just says, sorry, nothing's available. You need to call the office. And then if they switch the date and time, it'll say again and again. They'll just keep having this bad experience. If they do choose to call the office, you're not going to remember. It's been 6 months since you marked. You don't know their name or anything about them. You say, oh, I'm sorry. Let me take your order. What was your order number that you started? Let me get in there to that order. They give you the order number off their screen. You jump to it. If you'll go to the pay screen, it tells you much differently that you marked them bad. It doesn't say, sorry, nothing's available to you. It reminds you that they're bad. And then if you have made good personal notes in this file, you'll be able to either choose to confront them about throwing beer cans at your delivery guys when they tried to pick up the jump or whatever it was that they might have done that deemed them bad, and allow them a chance to redeem themselves. Or you can play along. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, nothing's available for the rest of our future. These custom fields, where did I get these from? Oh, this is also in the CRM. I'm sorry that I didn't follow up with a better screenshot. That when you're in the CRM, let me see if I go back. One of the screens might have shown it. When you search a client, on the right-hand side, you are given some multiple options. It's the one line of custom fields, notes, tasks, messages, special, and billing. I broke them down to show what each one. So custom fields, when you're in the CRM, allows you to view those custom fields that you created for event or customer. Some of us, for example, have custom fields that say, did you reach out and make sure they had the right electricity? And you can quickly search a client and know that, yes, it was checkmarked that your staff did take care of that or not. Notes allows you to read all the notes on this. So again, if somebody's marked bad on the left, all you've got to do is move your mouse to the right and click on notes and read why they were marked bad, and quickly decipher if you want to confront or get that apology and clear them from being bad. And historical notes carry forward, so no matter how many times the client's rented from you, it will be dated for an order, and the order ID number will be applied to each note so that you can organize which notes were for which event. Tasks allows you to quickly review any tasks that may be needed or were already completed for that client, again, because you're in the CRM based on that client. Messages allows you to view all of the ERS messages that were sent out. It is just the subject line of the messages, but it's all the internal messages that you yourself created. So the body of the message, you already know what those are, but it's a quick view for you to even say when the client calls and says, I didn't get that pre-rental reminder letter that you said that I was supposed to get to click and pay the balance. You can quickly look by searching your CRM at that client and go to messages and very quickly review and see that you did in fact send it, and the timestamp and date that you sent it, and acknowledge to them that maybe it's in their spam folder, but it really was sent out. Special allows you to now create custom pricing for that client. So let's say that you have a relationship with a specific school district in your area. So it might be multiple locations, but you, in every order for the location name, put the school's district or name. So you can apply special pricing just to that district. And that special pricing can go both ways. Maybe they're tough to work with, so you charge more, or they use higher volume of population on your equipment, so you want to charge more. Or maybe it's one of those things that you've always given them a discount because they're near and dear to your heart. So you can actually have special pricing applied. Again, something that you can learn about and follow in knowledge base. I've mentioned this a few times, but clicking help up in the top right hand menu and searching keywords in knowledge base allows you to learn these things. Special pricing being something that you can look into there if you're interested. And then last but not least, with ERS Pay, we have consolidated billing. So you can actually click on billing, especially for, again, a client that you do multiple events with, and see all of the bills that they might still owe you. Check mark off the one or two or all of them that they might want you to run their card on file for, and be able to run one balance one time that might run across multiple invoices, and then it emails them one consolidated billing receipt. ERS has also, for quite a long time, and it's usually misunderstood or forgotten, supported multiple contract options. So I did explain previously how receipt reminders could merge over certain disclaimers based on items in the cart and sort of build upon the contract. But completely separate from that, if you would just prefer that, hey, if they run a mechanical bull, I have a totally different contract that goes out from inflatables, totally different for tents, so on and so forth. You need only go to general documents and create those different styles of contracts, and then email our support team to simply say, hey, I created the bull contract, the inflatable, and the tent, and these are the ones that this contract should go to. What happens is, if I only rent a mechanical bull, then I only will see and sign the mechanical bull contract. But if I happen to rent a bull and a jump, I will see both contracts combined. Mechanical bull and inflatable contract will combine together. I mean, the reality is, if I rent all three, you could end up with a 6 or 8 or 12-page contract if you have enough content to build upon, but they will accumulate and add together so that your clients will be signing their disclaimers and contractual obligations based off the items they rented, if you ever want to use that feature. Putting the items in the order that you prefer them to be viewed, or your categories on the live website, is huge for us. We want to have that flexibility to organize the way the website is displaying. You want your really fun, bigger, expensive items at the top, really catching people's attention, where the smaller units that are maybe less popular at the bottom, or maybe vice versa, they're less popular, so shoot them to the top to get them more recognition. But that is done with admin product sorting. Sorting will only work and change visually for you if you first go into your settings and turn off alphabetization. I don't even know how to say that word. Okay, that was a fail. If your setting says leave everything in alphabetical order, you can drag and drop these all you want. It's still going to remain in alphabetical order. But admin, general config, miscellaneous settings, and order items alphabetically will let you, and if you don't find it in general settings, then I made a mistake and it's admin, order config, miscellaneous order settings. I apologize. But once you've got the alphabetization turned off, you can come to admin product sorting and you can sort the categories. It's just drag and drop. You'd just be grabbing these little placard cards and moving them in the order you desire, or physically clicking on the category would then open up the items in that category and let you drag them into any order. The do not send list. This is a great feature that kind of relies back onto the bad people. When they're marked bad, they automatically are removed from receiving any documentation or marketing emails from you. So there's nothing you need to do for a bad client. But sometimes people just reply to your automatic message saying, remove me from your list, don't send anymore. I moved out of the area, so this is not pertinent to me. So you can simply copy their email address and come into documents and find the auto message do not send list and simply list the email addresses. This is unlimited. You can put as many here as you want. There is no wrong way to list them. You can put, in the examples here, I've listed them vertically, but you could put badguy@yahoo.com, comma space this email at gmail.com, comma space the next one, comma space the next one, and so on. But either way, once they are on this list, they would not receive your email marketing any further. And this does mean even if they continue to rent from you, they will not receive your emails because they are on the do not send list. And this also is an automated feature. If you do use ERS mail, every letter you email out has a an unsubscribe at the bottom of every email. And if they do click the unsubscribe, it auto adds their email to this list. Nothing you need to do manually. You actually probably wouldn't even realize that somebody unsubscribed from you from ERS mail unless you come to this list to review. Wanted to point out also, this is long misunderstood, that most of you have the overnight button on your website. By default, it is there. There is a setting to turn it off if you don't want to have any differentiation between overnight and multi-day. But the overnight button is auto-selecting the next morning. By default, it auto-selects 11:30 a.m. the next morning. It is assumed that overnight in the system is up to 11:30 the next morning, and the moment somebody chooses 12 noon, that's considered day 2. Completely different price rule set and a completely different length of time in the programming system of your website. So I just wanted to point out that you control that cutoff time. So although it defaults to 11:30 a.m. and 12 noon is considered overnight is over and now it's next day, you can make that as low as you would like. So your hours of operation on your website might only be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., but you can still tell the system to make the next day cutoff time, in this case 9, so it will actually cut off at 8:30 a.m. the next morning. As this describes, there's a 30-minute window that 8:30 is the cutoff, so 9 o'clock is when day 2 starts. So you can adjust this with the setting as needed if you would like your overnight cutoff time to be lower even than your hours of operation, because again, the moment they select the overnight button, it auto-populates that time for them. It doesn't let them select. This is a feature that most people don't even realize that we have, and it is not beneficial to people to use by any means if you are not using time slots in a fashion that you just have a few available per week or a few available per day across a week. Because if you were to actually let this load for a full day's worth of time slot, it would take forever to load, and then it would be a very long spreadsheet and a horrible experience for your clients. But as you can see in this example, for an indoor facility or a time slot facility such as adventure biking, where they just allow a few slots a day, every day, and they want their renters to be able to see in advance that, hey, we don't have anything in the mornings on Friday, but we do on Saturday, and so on. This allows a completely different calendar view. Once they select a day, it would load all of your available time slots in this fashion. Again, best for indoor facilities, FECs, and also arrangements such as these that would want to display on the live website this way. But it is an option.
It's also good for open place with laser.
It is also very good for open plays with laser tag, Rob was pointing out. So this actually buttons up what I had in place for noob information, and noob not necessarily meaning that you are new, but it, because like I said in the first lesson, we veterans tend to forget sometimes some of the features that we don't use or we forgot to use or we would like to start implementing because maybe at the time we weren't really big enough to need to use. So I don't have anything more to present in the way of lesson, and ERSCon is actually over in 2 minutes. So I'm going to let Rob take over to button up and repeat just one last time the new Jumpstart deal, as well as I posted it on the ERS users group to try to explain better and more what the Jumpstart deal offers and is, so that anybody that wants to sign up, you have two options. If you are already an ERS user, you need to go to the marketplace. So click on your home page, marketplace is on the right side, find the Jumpstart deal, select it, sign the 1-year commitment, and you're ready to go. Susie will reach out and get your order for bounce houses and such. If you are not yet an ERS customer, or you have somebody in line that was waiting to hear what the Jumpstart deal was, the ERSCon deal was going to be, that is maybe interested, all they need to do is visit eventrentalsystems.com, sign up like they normally would for whatever level they normally would. It wouldn't matter, because once they're signed up, they're going to go select the marketplace and change to the Jumpstart deal, which again gives unlimited inventory for the entire year that you're on the deal, and Susie will work with you and Jump Orange to get your order in place for your bounce house. Rob, take it away.
All right. And I know that Ray sent me a text saying that, for example, they have a 15-foot water slide, and I think it would just be $800 more to get that. So if you want to take that path, but you don't want a regular bounce house, you want a combo or a slide, they have some limited availability on what units are available for that kind of thing, because they're trying to keep the stuff that's already in stock, so that you're not waiting for shipments to come overseas. So you'll need to contact them if you're wanting something else, but feel free to do that. Real quick before we wrap up today, what I've been noticing is Noah's been putting out a ton of new videos, and only about a third of you are actually subscribed to our YouTube channel, and that's true for our YouTube Event Rental Insider channel as well. So if you go to youtube.com/eventrentalsystems, go in there and click the subscribe button, and preferably the notification bell as well, so you get notified when we put out new videos. And because it's really easy to kind of gloss over those recent updates that we have on your homepage, but the videos kind of show you how it gets done. So I highly recommend that you guys subscribe in there. And then the Event Rental Insider, if you're not already subscribed, and by the way, we only need like 4 more to go over 1,000, so that would make me happy. But if we can get you guys to subscribe to the youtube.com/eventrentalinsider, that has kind of some business advice on it, and I am putting my New Year's resolution into play. We're going to start making some more videos in there again as well. So
you can take a screenshot right there. Do you see the screen? I've got the 2 YouTube subscription paths at the bottom of the page there if you want to grab that.
Yep.